Hello everyone, here I am yet again staring into another half-open box for your pleasure. To allay the usual trepidation associated with opening unmarked packages, the manufacturer was kind enough to place a little card in the top of the box. This was a very thoughtful act on their part, as the fear is real. It could be a present for one's wife or one's girlfriend, it could be a present for both. It could be a vibrator for one's boyfriend or a complete encyclopedia of midget husbandry. Before I get too excited like your mum watching a ship arrive at the harbour, let's set the tone with some music. The first thing you'll notice when you open the box is a little card from the BlackHog team which contains some very useful assembly instructions. By the way, that fucking fly is going to die a horrible death. Below that, you'll find a large manila envelope. It's not stuffed with cash or productivity powder as one would hope. Instead, it comes with a couple of sheets of extensively well thought out labels. The labels cover every conceivable category from World War II to general aviation to modern fighters to space sims. I'm told that the production version will come with pre-cut acetate sheets that the end user can label as required. The next part is the upright mount, giggity. The screws are attached to the bag, I'll get back to that later, but as you can see it's well made and well finished. Delving deeper into the box like the fiend I am, we find the base plate. The base plate is heavy, about 5mm thick and weighs about half a kilo. The real genius of the base plate is you'll notice lots and lots of screw holes. That's because it's designed to fit any of the mainstream HOTAS throttles. You'll also notice the 3 circles at the top which allow the upright mount to be placed in multiple positions. Incidentally, I have to commend the BlackHog team on the packaging, they have really thought this out. This is the mobile phone mount which attaches to the top of the controller. And now for the pièce de résistance, the money shot of the video, the part where I figuratively unload and leave all your faces looking like the drip tray of an ice cream machine. Beginning on the bottom left, there are 4 two-way momentary switches which are made from metal. Beside those are 2 buttons which are made from plastic. Then there's a knob, 3 more buttons, and another knob, giggity. Going from right to left along the top, we have 4 sliders, another button, and then a covered button. A covered button is generally something that's only used during a time of significant psychological turmoil, so henceforth it shall be known as the old bollocks button. Moving around the back, you'll see a USB-B socket to connect to your computer, and some of the most reassuring words you'll find on the back of any product, made in Germany. Those words are reassuring in 2 major ways. First of all, we can be pretty sure it wasn't made by children. Secondly, if you can find any place on the planet where nipples are referred to as breast warts, you know they're going to be pretty good engineers, because they're not romantic. The entire casing is made from metal and has a nice solid feel. As I spend about half my time in VR, the layout of the buttons and switches is quite important. If there are too many of the same types of buttons or switches grouped together, inevitably you'll end up pressing the wrong one at the wrong time, thus earning the enduring enmity of all those you fly with. So long as you're reasonably careful and deliberate, this is not a problem you should encounter with a BlackHog. The switches, knobs, buttons and sliders are laid out in such a way that it's quite easy to develop and remember a tactile map of the box. The assembly instructions are extremely clear and concise. In fact, if you have any trouble following them, you should probably consider not touching anything sharper than the suppository you use to administer your daily medication. To make things even more gobshite proof, all the components have their respective screws attached in a little bag. The sample version I received also had this handy little multi-tool and Allen key. Assembly generally takes around 5 minutes, and when you're finished it should look something like this. Just make sure that your chosen position suits your setup before you tighten everything up. The optional mobile phone holder can be used to hold your phone in the lateral position, not like shown here. By adding a couple of gel tabs and raising it up, I was able to turn it into a perfectly safe tablet holder. If you're starting an F5 and your buddy's starting an A10C, a tablet can come in very handy. You can brush up your skills using the highly recommended Chuck's guides, or you can tab out to some hairy midget porn for a quick shuffle. The BlackHog is recognised natively by Windows as a controller, so there are no drivers of any kind required. Setting it up in your sim of choice is as easy as setting up any other controller. That means it's much easier in DCS and X-Plane 11 than it is in IL-2 or Elite Dangerous. This has absolutely nothing to do with the controller, it's just that IL-2 and Elite Dangerous insist on keeping a crappy control system. Before I wrap up, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the build quality and my experiences with the unit. Being accustomed to the big heavy switches on the Warthog, I was initially surprised at how light the switches were on this unit. However, as the unit is offset from the controller, it needs to be light to preserve stability. So if the switches required the same force as the Warthog switches, you'd soon find your whole rig wobbling and shaking like an obese hooker in a snowstorm. The switches have a nice feel and require deliberate force to operate, so the most important thing here is you're not going to trigger them accidentally. The buttons are well sprung, which gives them a decent amount of tactile resistance. They also have a good distance of travel, which means it actually feels like you're pressing a button. This also reduces the risk of accidentally deploying something you shouldn't. The knobs and sliders have a decent level of resistance, which should prevent them from being accidentally operated. They're perfect for radio, comms volumes or radar access. They just don't have the resolution required for the fine control needed for throttles or mixtures. In saying that, I found them perfectly adequate for the operation of cowling flaps and the various coolant controls. The question one should ask of any potential product is, as always, does it make life easier or does it address a particular problem for me? The perennial problem facing most flight and space simmers is the increasing need for more knobs, buttons and switches. The BlackHog Explorer definitely goes a long way towards addressing this. By making the USB cable detachable, they've solved yet another common problem for flight simmers. That is, punishment midgets ruining equipment by chewing through USB cables. The BlackHog B Explorer with the HOTAS mount is available from the BlackHog website for 189 shekels plus tax and delivery. I would like to extend my sincere thank you to Ruben from BlackHog for giving me the opportunity to test out this unit and for answering all my questions and feedback regarding this unit over the past couple of months. And finally, I thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to dislike or tell me to go fuck myself below.